Welcome student. In the wastewater management, we are seeing about the few industries, the manufacturing process of the industries, and the process water which are used in the industries, and the wastewater, and what are the characteristics of the wastewater. Today we will see about the fertilizer industry. So the fertilizer industry is made up of companies that represents the entire supply chain from production to distribution to retail, all working together, whether organic or inorganic fertilizer, everything that is all things that is from the raw materials that is consumptions, production and to the distribution to the retailers. Mostly it is the retailers are mainly the farmers. In a safe and sustainable manner they will be giving. Fertilizers are substances that supply one or more chemicals required for the plant growth. Our country is an agriculture country and this plant growth is very much essential for the growth of the fertilizer. The primary object of this industry is to ensure the inflow of both primary and secondary elements that are required for crop production in the desirable quantities. So how we can divide the fertilizer into four things: nitrogenous, phosphatic, complex and potash. So today we will be seeing about the nitrogenous fertilizer university, that the production of urea. Urea is the main that is fertilizer that is used in most of the agriculture that is land, and it is also available everywhere throughout the country. So we are going to see about the urea. So some of the other nitrogenous fertilizers are ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, ammonium chloride, all ammonium based nitrogenous. And the next one, it is phosphatic, is super phosphorus, phosphates. Complex is that is mixing of nitrogenous and phosphorus, that is ammonium phosphate, ammonium sulfate phosphate, like that it will be there. And potassium is a potash, that is a different form of fertilizer. Mostly the chemicals that are used in the production of fertilizer are sulfuric acid, nitric acid, carbon dioxide, phosphoric acid, naphtha or natural gas. Naphtha is that is a flammable liquid that is coming from the production of petroleum, that is a hydrocarbon mixtures, right? It is mostly coming from the natural gas condensate. Natural gas is natural gas. It is a naturally occurring hydrocarbon mixture containing methane gas, other alkanes and small percentage of CO2, nitrogen, hydrogen sulfide and helium. So naphtha or the natural gas will be taken as a raw material for the production of the urea. So the production of urea, we have the fertilizer industry. We have four processes. First one, it is the gasification process, gas separation process, ammonia synthesis process, urea synthesis process. First we will go in for the gasification process. It is a formation of gas CO2, N2 and H2. We call it as a gasification process. So here two processes are there. One is gasification, the next one it is a gas separation process. So the main raw material is naphtha or the natural gas. So the first form, that is the first step is the steam reforming. Right? The first step is the steam reforming, where air and steam are allowed to move into the steam reforming session, where naphtha and natural gas are allowed to sink into it. So okay, so what is air? Air is the ordinary water which is having high amount of oxygen. What is steam? Hot air, we call it as a steam, right? So this naphtha or natural gas will be acted by air and steam in a steam reforming, and it will form CO, H2 and CO2, carbon monoxide, H2 gas and CO2 gas, carbon dioxide gas. The next one, this gas is allowed to pass through the next one, that is the shift converter. That is, from steam reforming, naphtha and natural gas is added with steam and air. It will form CO, H2 and CO2. Next it is sent to the shift converter, where again it is acted by air and steam. Right? So at the end of this process, what happens? CO2, N2 and H2 will be formed. From the naphtha, from the natural gas, N2 is there. So that N2 nitrogen gas, hydrogen gas and CO2, that is carbon dioxide, will be formed. This carbon dioxide will be taken for, and it will be absorbed by the gas absorption tower, and it will be separated. So this is the The CO2, N2 and H2 from this shift converter is taken to the gas absorption tower. This gas absorption tower will absorb the H2, N2 and this CO from here it will be absorbed, and the remaining gas will be taken to the reboiler. In the reboiler it will be the CO2 gas will be taken, and it is the input for the urea synthesis plant, which is the fourth process. Okay, so it will be taken, the CO2 is here, it will be taken to the urea synthesis plant. From the reboiler, the K2, CO3, arsenic which are present in the natural gas will be again sent to the gas absorption tower, which will help in the formation of H2, N2 and CO. So the next one, it is a gas separation process. So the CO2 is separated, mainly the gas absorption tower CO2 is separated. I told you now, here CO2 is separated from the gas absorption tower and sent to the urea synthesis plant. Separation is done by potassium carbonate, caustic soda, monoethanolamine and diethanolamine. This is the main thing that is used: potassium carbonate, caustic soda, monoethanolamine and diethanolamine. So when it is used to take the CO2 gas, the remaining that is coming is the potash, CO3, arsenic is again sent into the gas absorption tower for the next reaction, and the product that is coming out is H2, N2 and CO, which is taken to the methonator. So in the methonator, again it is reacted with monoethanolamine and diethanolamine, and what is formed is that CH4N2H2, and this is taken to the next process, that is the ammonia synthesis process. CH4N2H2 are formed, which is taken to the ammonia plant. So see here, this is a gas process and gas separation process. This naphtha or natural gas is taken to the steam forming. In the steam forming, air and steam are allowed to mix it with this, as steam is the hot air, by which CO, H2 and CO2 is formed, which is again taken to the shift converter, where again air and steam is allowed to pass through it. It forms CO2, N2 and H2. The CO2, N2, H2 is taken to the gas absorption tower, which is from which the gas like the H2, N2, CO will be absorbed and it will be taken to the next product, and the remaining gas will be taken, absorbed, and it will be taken to the reboiler. In the reboiler, it is acted by the potassium and the monoethylamine, diethylamine and other arsenic other things. If the CO2 will be taken, this will be taken for the urea synthesis. Again, that is the byproducts from K2, CO3, arsenic will be again taken for the gas absorption for the further process. So next, H2, N2 and CO will be taken to the methonator, where the diethylamine and monoethylamine is again added, and the formation of CH4, H2 and N2 will be formed, which is taken for the next process, that is the ammonia synthesis. So the third step is ammonia synthesis. CH4, N2, H2 is taken and it is taken to the compressor. So what happens? Are taken to the place, a mixture of pure nitrogen, pure hydrogen in proportion of 1:3 by volume is compressed under 200 atmospheric pressure. So here nitrogen is there, hydrogen is there. So here the proportion of 1:3. 1 part of nitrogen with the 3 part of hydrogen will be that is compressed at 200 atmospheric pressure. This is 200 atmospheric pressure. Okay, this is converted into 200 atmospheric pressure, and next it is taken. That is a formation of ammonia, by which the ammonia will be formed. So NH3 will be formed. This NH3 will be taken in for the ammonia converter. So the mixture are passed through the chamber catalyzer heated to 500 to 550 degrees centigrade. In the ammonia converter, this compressed at 200 degree atmospheric pressure is taken to the ammonia converter, where it is heated to 500 to 550 degrees centigrade, by which NH3 is formed. Right? So actually what is the catalyst that is added here? It is the iron and molybdenum. Right? Catalyst is molybdenum acts as a promoter, which is taken for the ammonium converter, and then the ammonia will be taken for the next process, that is the cooling process. So nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonia. The remaining nitrogen and hydrogen will be formed here on the cooling process. So when this is acted by the 200 atmospheric pressure, this hydrogen, 1 part of hydrogen mixed with 1 part of nitrogen mixed with 3 parts of hydrogen forming NH3. Then it is taken to the ammonia converter where this the iron is acted as a catalyst and molybdenum is acted as a promoter, by which NH3 is formed, where it is cooled down, by which we will get a very intense form of NH3. That is the formation of ammonia. The next thing, this ammonia is taken to the ejector. The gases containing ammonia and unreacted nitrogen are cooled under pressure when ammonia is liquefied. So again, when it is cooled down again, it will form in a liquefied form. Right? It is heated, cooled and cooled. So it is formed in a liquefied form. This liquid nitrogen is being taken for the further storage. In between, the unreacted nitrogen and unreacted ammonia will be there, which will be taken as a gaseous form to the ammonia recovery plant, where the gaseous form of NH3 will be retrieved. So next one, it is ammonia recovery. The ejected gas are recycled in a reaction chamber to get more ammonia. The reaction is exothermic. Exothermic meaning heat is given out. So the liquid ammonia is stored in the ammonia storage tank. Then this ammonia storage tank and the CO2 from the gasification process, gas separation unit, that will be taken as an input for the fourth process, that is the urea synthesis plant. So the next one, it is the urea synthesis. So the urea synthesis plant, the CO2 and NH3 is taken for the urea autoclave. So where it is heated to a very high temperature, where ammonium carbonate in the liquid form is there, then it is heated, filtered, vacuum crystallized, centrifuged, by which we will get a crystals or granulator. To get the dust form of the pills, we go in for the pilling towers. So we will say this is the urea synthesis plant. This NH3 we will be getting it from the ammonia synthesis. This we are getting it from the gas separation plant. Carbon dioxide and NH3 is taken into the urea autoclave. So the CO2 from gas separation process is mixed with the ammonia into form urea. Urea is a type of nitrogenous fertilizer which is white crystalline substance with the chemical formula NH2CO NH2 or NH2CO2 NH2. Right? So you can see here, this is a crystalline granular form of the fertilizer urea. Right? So this is NH2CO NH2. It contains 46 to 47% of nitrogen in it. So CO2 and NH3, that is carbon dioxide and ammonia, is mixed vigorously at a pressure of 180 atmospheric pressure. Right? At temperature of 135 degrees centigrade, ammonia carbonate is formed in the liquid form. So you can see here, the urea autoclave, the temperature that is maintained is 135 degrees centigrade. At the 135 degrees centigrade, carbon dioxide reacts with the ammonia and form NH2CO NH2, which is the urea. This ammonium carbonate is formed in a liquid form. It is there in the liquid form. This is the urea that is formed in the liquid form. So this liquid form, the unreacted gases will be taken and it will be taken to the absorption tower, where more ammonia will be retrieved. Right? This ammonia carbonate, where CO2 and NH3 which are not reacted, will be again taken and it will be taken for the absorption tower, where more ammonia will be formed. This ammonia will be again acted as an input to the autoclave. So the next process is the heating process. So the ammonium carbonate in the liquid form is again heated to the 200 degree centigrade. And from the heater, then it is taken to the filtrate. The heated ammonium carbonate is washed thoroughly, right? So after heating 200 degrees centigrade, it is washed thoroughly, and the particles that the filtrate will be removed. It is filtered and the filtrate will be removed. The next one, we are going in for the vacuum crystallization. again maintained in the vacuum crystallizer, where this filtrate material will be taken, the filtrate ammonia carbonate, that is NH2, CO NH2 will be taken to the vacuum crystallizer. Due to the high atmospheric pressure, due to the high vacuum, it is formed into crystal, right? So the centrifuge, next it is taken to the centrifuge, where the concentrate is removed and we get the granular form of the urea. The urea will be in crystal form. I told you it is a granular form, it is in the crystal form. It can be dried and it will be remelted, and if you want to take it to the prilling tower. If you want in the granular form, you can take it in the granular form, or we can go and take it as a dusting material. We have to go in for the prilling tower. So what is prilling? Prilling is a method of producing reasonably uniform spherical particles from molten solids. It produces very strong solution or slurries from that. Due to the prilling, we will get small solid forms. Higher temperature require taller towers. Usually for prilling, we go in for 50 meters tower. Right? The height of the room is 3 meters, so you can see 10 times or 15 times more than that the height of the prilling tower will be. So it will be of 50 meters, and the higher temperature will be there for it. So the air will be released here, where the hot air will be here. So the urea or the crystal materials will be taken here, where it is prilled, and the prilled urea will be taken here. You can see in the bottom, hot air will be there, prilled area will be there, and the remaining air will be taken out in the prilling tower. Prilling tower in the fertilizer industry are typically 50 meters high for a mean particle size of about 2 mm. To get a urea size of 2 mm, the prilling tower height should be around 50 meters. So this is one of the prilling tower you can see here. So prill is a spherical pellets made by the cooling and falling liquid. Liquid urea is pumped into the top of the tower, where there is a spinning drum. There will be a spinning drum. Urea gets passed through holes in the drum, and urea falls while inert gas is being blown upward. So when the gas are being blown upward, this urea is falling through these small holes. So when it comes down, it will form a solid particles around 2 mm size. So what is the difference between prills and granules? Prills form smaller, more mono-dispersed materials where no additives are needed. Granules, on the other hand, form bigger and stronger particles which are more resistant to wear caused by transportation and can homogeneously be blended with other granules based on particle size. So here this is the last, that is the whole process, manufacturing process of this ammonia. Naphtha, the natural gas, are the raw materials which are taken in the steam forming, where air and steam is added into it. It forms CO, H2 and CO2. The CO, H2 and CO2 is taken to the shift converter, where again it is added by air and steam, and it is the CO2, N2 and H2 are formed. The CO2, N2 and H2 are taken to the gas absorption tower. From the gas absorption tower, it will form H2, N2 and CO, right? And the remaining gases will be taken to the reboilers. So in the reboilers, here the gas absorption tower and reboilers, we will have potassium permanganate, caustic soda, arsenic, and this carbon dioxide, everything. So the carbon dioxide will be taken, and this will be the input for the urea plant. The remaining, that is K2CO3 arsenic, will be again taken into the gas absorption tower for the further process. So the H2, N2 and CO is taken to the methonator, where diethyl amine and monoethyl amine is added to it, by which we forms the CH4, N2 and H2, which is the input for the ammonia synthesis plant. So the next one, it is ammonia synthesis plant. So CH4, N2, H2 are the input for it, where it is compressed to a high temperature of 200 atmospheric pressure, and where it is formed the ammonia, right? So here the ammonia is converted having a catalyst of iron, and molybdenum acts as a promoter. Okay, so then it is taken to the cooling tower, where it is cooled down, and then it is taken to the ejector. So in the ejector, there will be the catalyst forms, and it will form the liquid ammonia, that is the NH3 will be formed from the N2, CH4 and H2, and this liquid ammonia, some some unreacted particles will be absorbed as a gaseous medium and it will be going for a ammonia recovery. This ammonia recovery will be always taken into the urea plant. Here this liquid ammonia will be stored in this ammonia storage tank, and wherever we want to go for the urea synthesis, we will take ammonia from here. So the CO2 from the gas separation plant and NH3 from the ammonia synthesis is taken to the urea autoclave, where the temperature of 135 degrees centigrade is maintained at a pressure of 200 atmospheric pressure. So this usually forms ammonium carbonate. So the main thing of urea is NH2, CO, NH2, right? So this is formed. The unreacted ammonium carbonate is again absorbed, where it forms the this NH3. This NH3 will be again taken as a raw material to the urea enclave. The ammonium carbonate formed is again heated to 135 degrees centigrade. Again it is washed thoroughly and it is filtered. So the filtrate is again taken to the vacuum crystallizer, where 200 atmospheric pressure vacuum is created, by which the crystal is formed. It will remove all the things and it is taken to the centrifuge, where the granules can be removed. So the removed crystals are dried, remelted, again taken to the pilling tower. From here we can take the centrifuge and we can take the granules. The urea dust is taken and again it is taken to the pilling tower. I told you the pilling tower for making 2 mm sized urea, it is 50 meters high, right? So in the pilling tower, we get the prilled area, hot air and air, where a drum will be there. This liquefied urea will be allowed to flow through it and it will be stirred completely and it will fall through so many holes, by which we will get the prilled area, urea. Now we will see where we are using the process water. In the urea, that is a fertilizer plant, almost in all the processes we are using the fertilizer water. Boiling, heating, cleaning the machineries and washing the urea, production of ammonia, air, heat, air, everywhere we are using the process water. So what are the waste water that is coming from the fertilizer plant? Processing chemicals like sulfuric acid, the ammonia, phosphoric acid, etc. Oil bearing waste from the processor houses of ammonia and urea plants, cooling water waste, that is chromium, zinc, etc. Wash water from scrubbing towers, arsenic, potassium carbonate, alkaline acidic waste from boiler feed water treatment. These are the things that is coming from the waste water from the this fertilizer plant. And these are the composition of the waste water. That is pH will be 7.5 to 9.5. That is, it is alkaline. Total solids will be 5400 mg per liter. Ammonia and nitrogen will be 700 mg per liter. Urea and nitrogen will be 600 mg per liter. Phosphate will be 75 mg per liter. Fluoride will be 15 mg per liter. Arsenic will be 1.5 mg per liter. So the ammonia plant, the waste is taken, will be having the arsenic bearing waste, oil bearing waste and other waste. That is the NH3 it will have. So first this oil bearing waste will be going for oil separation. What is the process of going for oil separation? It is skimming process. Then from this arsenic bearing waste, it will be taken and it will be heated and it will be evaporated, by which we will be getting the arsenic. The oil bearing waste will be taken for the skimming process, by which we can remove the oils, and the wastewater will be taken for the effluent. From the ammonia, the other waste NH3, and from the urea, the NH3 and urea will be taken and it will be go for the nitrification and the denitrification process. We have already seen about this nitrification and denitrification process, where it is a biological removal process by which nitrates are converted to nitrites and the nitrates are converted to the nitrogen gas, and the nitrogen gas will be left out into the atmosphere. After that, the remaining water will be taken into the effluent. So from the boiler plant, ammonia sulfate plant, sulfuric acid plant and demineralized plant. Here we are for demineralization, we go in for the ion exchange process, where which the ion is exchanged, anion exchange effluent and cation exchange effluent will be there. So by which it can be demineralized, and the sulfur acid plants has to be treated, and ammonia sulfate boiler treatment plant, everyone will be taken as a effluent. Phosphoric acid plants and DAP plant, this chalk pond will be there, where it is taken, lime will be added and this lime will be added in the mixing tank and it will be taken for the settling tank where it will be allowed to settle. There the particles will be reacted with the lime and it will be settled as a lime sludge. So the lime sludge will be taken for the disposal. The remaining water will be taken for the effluent. So all these plants, the remaining water after proper treatment will be taken as an effluent and it will be safely discharged into the water bodies. So today class we have seen about the fertilizer and the industry and how to form the urea, what are the processed water, what are the waste water, and we have seen about what are the composition of the waste water, and we saw what are the treatment of the waste water. Next class we will see about the next industry.